We know security is on everybody's mind these days, so one of the things that we have for a long time in Robot Schedule is security setup. Above and beyond your normal IBMI object security, we basically have application security. Our previous video was getting started with Robot Schedule security settings. This one here is aimed more at advanced. You don't necessarily have to watch them in one order or another, but if you haven't watched the first one, you should do that. So as we know, Robot Schedule again runs on IBMI, so it uses IBMI objects. It's got a GUI, it's got green screen type interfaces, it's got special interfaces into JD Edwards One, Enterprise One, and SAP. It also has Robot Replay, which can also be secured. I'm not going to talk about that much today. It's got its own security inside of it. And then, of course, Robot Schedule Enterprise, which is us putting agents over on your Windows and Linux servers, and now we can run processes over there securely. Okay. Underneath the covers, Robot Schedule uses TLS 1.3. All right. So in this particular video, we're going to look at the user guide. We didn't do that in the last session. Probably should have. Talk a little bit about group authority, authorization list. Then we're going to verify system setup itself is secure because it doesn't ship that way. I recommend a couple changes there. How to secure a do of a job, securing specific jobs, and then robot grant authority, a command that we ship with the product that can help you with that mass maintenance related to cybersecurity and Robot Schedule. And then, of course, printing audit reports. All right, so let's keep it simple. That's my theme for cybersecurity and Robot Schedule. Okay, so Robot Schedule comes with a user guide, right? So open that user guide up. If you don't understand robot security, roll into the index and scroll down till we get to the system setup menu, and that's when we start talking about security. Okay, so it goes through and talks about what can be secured, how you turn security on, and then lets you know how Robot Schedule works from a security perspective. Now as you go through the menu, we'll show you the options for it, the fact that you need to make sure that robot security is turned on, the fact that robot security will support group profiles, authorization list, authorities, and we talk about star public and how that's used as a generic security officer. And we also talk about all object authority and the fact that if somebody's running under security officer type authority, no matter what security you put inside of the robot security, we're going to just give them access. And then finally, robot grant authority command, which is a nice command that you can use if you're highly secure and you're securing things by application, by a query. This gives you a batch process that you can run periodically to make sure security is set the way you want it to be set. We created that command quite a while ago. So very powerful command. You might want to play around with it. So I like to do my maintenance of security through the graphical interfaces. There are some things in the graphical interface that are not in the green screen from an access perspective. Specifically, one of the things we showed you last video was the system setup report for printing out your security settings. You get at that much easier through the GUI. Through the green screen, it's documented in the book, but you got to call it from the CLI or command interface. Okay. Here, the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that when our user Tom Lowe tries to access the system in Robot Schedule, that they don't have authority to the Robot Schedule system setup menu. So one of the things you're going to see here is that I'm using a profile that has no privileged access really on the system, yet it could go in right now and it could change the setting for use robot cybersecurity. Okay, that kind of breaks down things, right? So let's secure that. All right, so how do we do that? So we go into the product security for Robot Schedule. We go into the properties here. And if you remember, we have these secure objects, and one of them way down on the bottom is system setup. So we go into properties. By default, this is shipped as, I believe, change on most systems for public. So I'm going to change public to exclude. We're not going to allow public to be able to go into that option. And I'm also going to do it for the maintain security screen that we're in right now. I'm going to go in and change that. Authorize objects, you can certainly change that too, but that's really dealing with what work management objects can be used inside of your robot schedule jobs. Yeah, a little bit of concern. You certainly could lock that down today too, but for demo purposes, we're going to do what we just did here. And so now here's Tom H. Lowe. You can see that in the background. And if I try to go into secure general system defaults, now I'm not authorized. And if I take option 3, I'm not authorized to that. Okay, so now we want our Tom H. Lowe to have enough security so that they can force a job to run or hold a job because they're an operator, but we don't want them changing the job content. So right now, if I go into robot schedule and I go in, I can do a do on a job. So I could go ahead and submit this job. I also can hold the job if I want. I have that ability to hold, remove, all those things under Tom H. Lowe. I don't want public to be able to do that, but I want Tom H. Lowe to be able to do. But then also when Tom H. Lowe goes into job, we don't want them to be able to change the job. Okay? So let's go back into our security. First of all, what we want to do is we want to come in and I want to change some of my screens here. I'm not going to change all of them because there's a lot of options here, but I'm going to make public display only. That's going to impact Tom H. Lowe because it doesn't have all object authority. I'm going to also change the job control options and make that display only. So now anybody who goes into robot schedule, they'll be able to see those things. And command entry. Let's just do command entry too. Like I said, it is already display only. I've been in here playing around a little bit. Okay. Now the other thing is if we go down here, we have do. We want to not allow public to be able to do, but we want Tom H to be able to do. Now let me first of all show you I can exclude. So I'm going to just do that. Now we have our authority set so that if we look at this again, Tom H is excluded from do. So I want to show you the impact of that. So let's go here to Tom H. Lowe. And now if I try to do a do, I'm not authorized. But I don't want that. And I'm in view mode. So if we go F10 here, we'll see we can change that screen because we didn't change that. But then we go to work management, we can't change those. It's display only mode. Okay, that's all good. But I really want Tom H. Lowe. He's my operator. He's got to be able to change jobs. So let me go back in here, change this here. Tom H. be able to use the do function. And I didn't mess with the hold function at all, but I'll come in here, just show you again how you add a user in. Oh, actually I'm in here already. So I'm going to exclude public from holding. All right. So Tom H. Lowe should be able to now hold a job. Back to our green screen. By the way, this works in the GUI or green screen. So now when I do, I indeed can do a job. And if I want to hold a job, I can hold a job. Now there are other things too that we want to do. So there's remove, hold, do, all those things. Now suppose you wanted to just secure a job in robot schedule so that public, or in this case Tom H. Lowe, cannot take a look at that job, run it, do anything with it. Let's take a look at that. So inside system setup we have job security, and when you go in here you'll see a list of your jobs. I'm going to click on Tom job, and when I do that it'll take me into edit mode because again I'm running under an all object authority, and I'm going to change public authority to exclude. I don't have to put Tom H. Lowe in here because by default Tom H. Lowe falls into star public as authority. And just so you know, if I take a look at another job out there, the reason you saw Tom H on there is the person who creates the robot schedule job by default in Robot Schedule gets the authority they need to change, delete that job. Okay, so now we've done that. Let's go back over to our 5250 session. And when I back out of here and come back in, we'll see now in front of the A job, which I just secured, I can no longer put a 1 or anything. So when I try to input that, I can't see it there. If I were to load the GUI up, it probably wouldn't show up there either. So I'm now excluded from a job. The next thing we might want to take a look at is the batch command we talked about earlier called robot grant authority. So let me go to command line, robot grant authority. You have to have robot lib in your library list to get at this. But when I press enter here, this command gives me a lot of parameters. And first thing I can do is secure objects. So I can say jobs, I could do all jobs or a specific job, or I have access to all these functions we've been looking at, the do, the hold, different job schedule options, the initial setup, the advanced scheduling, etc., etc., etc. The other thing I have on this command is I have the ability to have application name in here, so I could build the same security around a particular application in Robot Schedule. If you don't know what an application is, you're going to have to go look at the user guide. We also can build a robot query to select certain jobs. We can also propagate, of course, the authority by users, which can be group profiles or individual profiles, or in this case, like star public. And then what kind of authority are we going to give out? And then if we want, we can use a authorization list, and we can also revoke others from this particular set of jobs. Okay, so that's that. And then our final topic I wanted to show you was the audit. Now you can get at the audit in green screen or GUI. As far as audit report in the GUI, it's off the system setup menu. So if I want to go print out the audit report, I can say show me what's changed today in Robot Schedule. Any job name. I'm going to omit the robot profiles because I really don't care about robot jobs changing. And I can submit this off to batch. And we go into our spool files generated on this system. And we haven't had a lot of activity. This is a small Robot Schedule environment. But we can see earlier today, Tom Lowe did a do on a particular job. So the audit report is ultimately what we want to look at. Covered a lot, how to secure do and hold, how to look into the user guide for Robot Schedule for some education around the security topic. The robot grant authority, we showed how you can secure an individual job. And we also showed you the robot grant authority command. Thank you again for joining us on another deep dive into some features in Robot Schedule.